Yes. Oh, hi, John. Hi.
Hello.
Oh, he's so funny with video. I don't know why.
Okay, so I'm looking at the questions to see if we're getting any questions. Oh, Miriam said she's hi. Says hi. Good day today. I'm so relieved.
Jeez, all of us. Go.
All right. Okay, so we're live. There's people watching.
Oh boy.
Can if you're watching this, can you let us know? Can you check in?
Got 7 eyeballs on, or 7 pairs of eyeballs on us, apparently. So how are you guys doing? Saturday. What's up? What's going on?
Good. I got back from the temple actually. We went
Actually
with
awkward.
the boys, so that was nice.
Are there celebrations in Chicago? There has to be.
I think so. Yeah, and a lot of people driving around honking and like banging pots and pans and stuff. So
I haven't heard any.
Oh really?
Yeah, I have a shirt on because I'm proud of the Navajo Nation. Holy cow, they showed up and showed out.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah?
Here, 7% participation.
Wait, what'd you say?
97%.
Wow.
Wow.
90%.
Wow.
That's like you. 90. Anyway, yeah. So Navajo Nation. Holy cow. We're recognized. Not even Navajo, but I'm so proud. Holy cow. Yeah.
What about
I mean,
Stanley?
just in general about that, like the Black and Native populations. Wow. Just showed up. I said, F this, and showed up. Okay, my bad. Sorry. But yeah. Anyway. That's literally been like our mood all day. Like, oh my God, y'all see this? Yes. Yeah. That's where I am at. Just feeling good about it all.
Yeah, you're feeling good, huh?
I'm like on the North and South Dakota border, right? y'all heard about Jeez. Oh my God. Yeah, that's like the #1 COVID spot in the world. So we're happy. We're happy. Holy cow. Yeah.
How is it on Standing Rock? Is it getting better or?
I mean, our numbers are still, yeah, it's still pretty bad. We're people are quarantined, laying low, but in all of the border towns, everywhere, like, yeah, it's just rampant. It's terrible. It's bad. They're saying anywhere from every 100 people, or there's 1 in 100 people. How do you say that? For every 100 people, there's 1 person sick, and they're estimating that for the native populations in North and South Dakota, it could be as high as 1 in 25.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Is that partly because like?
Yeah, we're taking our victory. That's actually a good thing. I mean, I know we're not supposed to get into partisan politics, but they're trying to get us out here, like literally. Wait, let me just get that. Kill us out here. It's insane. So yeah, we're celebrating. Celebrate for real.
Well, first it was the pipeline.
Are you, Alec? Oh, sorry.
Oh no,
you're not in Arizona.
California, Northern California.
What were you saying, Hussein?
Oh, I was just gonna say like it was like most recently it was the pipeline, and then and then now this.
Yeah. So you're saying last election we were fighting to drink water. This election we're fighting to breathe.
Oh God.
You know, kind of
Yeah.
how it's
Yeah.
going. So yeah.
Oh, Susanna Dotson says she's fresh out of Facebook jail literally a few minutes ago. It's good to be here with everyone.
Hey, welcome.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm glad you're out, Susanna. We need your voice.
Did we have topics or things that we were or were we just going to answer questions? I don't recall from our discussion.
Well, I think we had a topic, but like the person that brought up the topic is not here, and it's just two white guys and, and you. so like now what do we do?
Bump up your Chilean side. They're going to be like 1.5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Half white guys.
Just to make it more sane, I guess.
Yeah. One thing we could talk about is like, any questions we got, if anybody has questions. Indishay is on there.
Indishay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, Indishay. Start doing shout outs. Hey, what's up?
Oh yeah. We haven't been together since 1990. The three, you, me, and Indishay. We went to
Yeah.
your place.
Jeez. Like that? Are you serious? Like for what? What's the point? Seriously? Like really?
We were two. We're all two years old, just hanging out on the
Yeah. That was 1990. That was a long time ago. Holy cow.
I know.
Back in the olden
Yeah.
time.
Definitely.
Well, one thing we could talk about is like, and then also it'd be great to hear people's thoughts and stuff on that. Is like, just to make sure that people don't think it's like, oh, the election turned out. Oh, there's Maggie. I'll wait for
Good.
her. We gotta be nice to her. She has a headache.
I guess.
Hey, Maggie.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Hey, I'm glad you made it.
Oh, looks like you're on a VHS. Or
So
like
there's a question.
Speaking of old school.
I can fix that. I hope I didn't interrupt anything by being late.
No,
No.
we're just getting started. We had some technical problems.
We were just having an awkward conversation.
Would you all like me to retrieve my external webcam, or shall we leave it like this?
I think it's good.
I
As long
think
as we can.
it's okay.
Yeah, it adds character.
80s video. That's cool.
I'm kind of enjoying it. Like, what movies are we going to rent from Blockbuster tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Silly thoughts. I'll keep talking.
So is partisan politics?
Oh, wait, go ahead. Start.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
There's a question. Is the partisan politics to celebrate getting rid of a tyrannical leader? I don't think so. But I may be biased in answering that.
I mean, I
don't know.
I look at those things as relative too, right? Because, when have we not had a tyrannical leader technically in this country? I mean, if we're talking about, what was going on in No Dapple, that was the previous leader, not the current one. That was allowing that to happen.
Yeah,
I think
it's not like
it's really clear that we're really not supposed to talk about people, even though it's always a struggle. a massive
It
struggle.
really is.
It is. Well, I guess
So
one
yeah,
other-
I don't feel like I'm like the best example for that because I mean, and I kind of preface that like these leaders, these partisan leaders, and by celebrating a Democrat victory, I'm not celebrating a Democrat victory. I'm celebrating the possibility that we could get mask regulation here. I'm celebrating the possibility of, you know, like, or yeah, hopefully the police here won't be so pro-Trump, won't be harassing us, or it would be harder for them to harass us. I don't know. They harass us regardless, so it would be more for them to harass. So that's what I'm celebrating. Like, I don't necessarily feel like it's, you know, a Republican versus Democrat. I'm celebrating a little more protection, both health-wise and physical safety. So I guess that's where I'm at, and those are all just social justice issues. So yeah, I'm gonna celebrate. Hell yeah, I'm gonna celebrate.
You got on your earrings.
Put my turquoise earring. I'm so proud. You know, I blinged out a little bit, put my rocks on and everything, you know, because yeah, jeez. They showed up and showed out. Did you guys see
Yeah,
that?
that's something to celebrate.
That's huge. Oh my god. Anyway, okay, yeah. Woo. And if you Dakota, you know where we voted. You can see where the natives are. And you can, so yeah, it's about the human dignity. That's what it's about. And that's where I'm at. So yeah. Hey, get off my soapbox about partisan politics for a second. I'm not celebrating that.
Yeah, that's it for me. That's the key difference. We're not celebrating that one party won the other. It's the character, and that some people's lives might be easier for, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, right? Like, because I also
For sure.
I'm just seeing like a lot of white folks are like, woohoo, we made it, you know. But it's like, well,
Yeah, exactly.
like now we're kind of just at the starting line, really. Like, you know.
Well, you know, I feel like what's happening is the veils are lifting. You know, there's a lot of description about that, but the veils are lifting and people's true colors have come out. So I feel like, you know, what we had is it was essentially like with Trump, it was like the lights came on and you saw the roaches, but they were all safe because all the excuse my language, but all the bullshit was out there, so they could just like go and roam around in it and just like, hey, what's up, you know, and they could just be. So the veil was lifted and it became apparent, and it became very apparent that 55% of white women in this country voted for Trump, voted for the, you know, for dehumanizing whole populations of people. So that's, yeah. We're talking politics. Hey. You look gorgeous, by the way. You got all dolled up and everything.
Oh, I'm like half in, but I realized I was late. I looked at my clock and I was like, oh. So I'm looking a little, I don't know. I feel like I'm looking a little vampy right now, but it'll just have to do.
I love it. Feel a little underdressed here. Like.
Well, this is you missed my post. This is just part of. I had a photo shoot a couple weeks ago, a family photo shoot, and I do not feel like I did well because I haven't put on makeup since like before the kid was born. You know, he just turned 7, so I decided I was going to practice until I was happy with my results, and so you know, I got my girl gang going, and we're all in a little group, and we're practicing like every night or every day as we have time. And so this is for Target.
Ah, nice.
Target in a few hours.
Oh yeah.
Wait, okay, no, real parenting question. Did you go to Target as a date, as part of a date?
No, I can't get Ruben that far into it. So
Oh.
if I'm dating myself, you could consider it that way, but no. But see, he has to stay home because that way the child stays home.
Oh.
I get, mommy, that's my mommy time, even if it's just to walk around and buy nothing. I need it.
Yeah, you look fancy. Gorgeous.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Celebrating.
Camila's.
Yeah. Celebrating. Heck yeah, it's a good day.
How are you doing?
I don't know, nothing new under the sun, man. Just taking it day by day. Yeah, see, I tried to think of something exciting to say. Nothing. I still have a nervous pit in my stomach, I think, much like Maggie's. It's not going away. I'm not in any kind of celebratory mode today. I'm trying not to be fearful, because a lot of earth can be scorched in 2.5 months. So I'm worried about people. And yeah, so I'm not at the point where I can, I don't know, I'm not relaxed. I mean, if anything, it's just time to figure out how our message is going to change, because, you know, it's not like any of the fights are over, any of our fights. So it's like, okay, this is time to regroup. Let's see what our protests are going to look like next year. that's it. So, Alec, you surviving over there? Poor thing. I don't even know if he heard me. Did he hear me? Alec, you okay?
No. My speaker just randomly shut off and I had to turn it back on. Sorry. I am not okay. What was your question, my friend?
Oh,
or comments?
Oh, questions? There are questions?
Yeah, we got a couple questions.
You were saying something to me, right?
I was just checking to see how you were doing because I know you're miserable. So I guess it was a question of, I don't know, specific misery.
No, I mean, I'm out of the same, concerns, same like cautious, celebration for the things that went well, incredibly well, and the concern for, what's still to come. I mean, I honestly don't think I don't think we're out of any kind of woods around political violence. So that's what I'm just cautiously keeping my eyes and ears open.
Maggie, you're not down there biting your lips, are you? You're looking tense now. Come on now.
I'm just trying. No. Unconsciously, yes. Yeah, I've been more nervous today than the whole entire last week. I can't explain it. I think humans, we all process our emotions differently. And I think that I am waiting for the other shoe to drop. where the whole last week I've been staving off the anxiety, like, because, you know, we didn't know yet. And I was okay with the waiting period. Somehow I can do that. And then this morning when the results came in, then it's like I've been nervous all day. I'm worried about people. I'm worried about hate crimes. I'm worried about a lot of stuff. I don't know. But I am trying to balance that by telling myself that I don't know if this is like a fact or anything, but I remember when we were watching the debates, I was a little bit struck by the fact I don't think a presidential debate has ever had a candidate use the terms that we've used, like institutionalized racism. Like, I don't, you know, like there's social justice language that entered our political debates this year that usually stayed more within activist and community organizer circles. And people knew they had to start talking about these things. So I'm trying to tell myself that, you know, our cultural lexicon and awareness advanced through this terrible year onto the political stage. So maybe that means that if we were ever going to be able to change things at even local and state levels, you know, maybe now is the time. I think, like all of us, it's really hard for that to outweigh the anxiety of who's, you know, the most vulnerable people, like in the process. Like, that's always what we're worried about, is how bad does it get in the meantime, you know? So I'm not sure if any of that like makes a lot of sense, but that's where my head's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Susanna Dodson is watching, and she just commented, the change in language was a result of grassroots activism.
Absolutely.
And also that we have taken a small step toward achieving justice for all. We have to keep pushing to keep our leaders accountable. Power concedes nothing without a demand.
Absolutely.
I keep thinking of like Malcolm X's, you know, analogy with a knife. You know, if you put it in 9 inches and take it out 6, it's still there.
Yep.
Yeah, we have to be ever more cognizant now of continuing to push that kind of language and stuff. And I think, like at the you know, race unity dialogues and stuff like that I attend, like in my community, obviously partisan politics comes up. We all know that, you know, very predictable opinions on that comes up. I am seeing a lot more people talking about reframing it as human rights and talking about community organization. So I just hope in my heart of hearts that's what we can like emphasize for all of us to try to do now. I don't know.
I'm still waiting for the, oh, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm talking a lot. I was gonna say, I feel like I'm waiting for the day when like, because you know, we like there's all these institute terms in the community until like social justice terms and use the terms that are used to like anti-oppressive language are just as common in our communities, you know, and like we're using both, you know, like.
Somebody else say something.
Yeah, I heard a literal cricket chirp somewhere.
Let me find my tumbleweed to carry across the street.
Hey man, don't joke. Have you ever had to deal with tumbleweeds? Those suckers.
No, I've been around them, but I've never had to deal with.
My gosh. Try to retrieve a very, very fluffy dog from their grasp. It's not fun.
Oh Lord.
Well, so we have a question that I think some folks might have some thoughts and feelings about. Oh gosh.
Mhm.
The question is, what can we do to create unity with people who may have voted the other way? Obviously more specific to US right now, but more generally, as we also had a split here in the UK with the Brexit vote. So what, what do y'all think? Any thoughts about that?
I would like Melinda and Kamimula to speak first.
I feel like those folks are y'all's problem. But I do, because they're here and they're not safe. They're really dangerous. Like for me, yeah, I don't know. Because I've thought a lot about that, like how, and I've tried that for a long time. You know, as an educator, as a teacher for 13 consecutive years, I was the only native on staff. You know, in 3 different school districts, the only native on staff in the building. So, I tried. I've tried. I've been trying. I've been in the system. Tried to work with them. Tried to work alongside. I've seen the damage these people do. I don't know. I feel like my work is more concentrated in building people up. I don't know that I can affect change with that population in particular. I don't know, but I'm also old, so I might be already throwing in the towel, like my towel.
Did you just
Right. Because that's a lot of work. Holy cow. I don't know. Sorry? I'm muffled.
Unity, honestly, even though that's an end goal, it's not even on my radar right now. It's not on my radar. Unity cannot happen without reconciliation, without justice. We aren't at that stage yet. We're not even at recognition. Recognition has to happen before there can be any sort of, we can't even begin to address the problems when there's still nearly 50% of the population that doesn't even see an issue with the injustices that we face. So unity is not currently on the table. It's something that we want. It's something that we as Baha'is are commanded to work towards. But we're not even at the point where that's part of the work yet. We're still crawling, let alone, steps, baby steps. We're still crawling. So honestly, it's just not even on my radar. I'm trying to survive. I live in Massachusetts, which is supposed to be a liberal state. That's a whole nother conversation as to what liberal means and what that means for people of color. And sometimes it means nothing. And within Massachusetts, I live in a very conservative town. And within the conservative town I live, it is also a very white town. It's a blue collar town. And the longer our current leader has been in office, the more I've seen vehicles with white supremacist emblems and stickers and icons on them. And I see people getting bolder and bolder in their actions and their discriminatory actions. I get looks and shouts when I'm at red lights that I didn't get previously. On election night, I went to, I pulled my family to a friend's house because I love my house, but it's a lot of windows and I don't know what these people are going to do. And I would love for almost anyone to be able to tell me that I'm just being paranoid. And the problem is, I know I'm not. I know I'm not. I'm in a constant state of feeling like I'm one step away from being in danger. And there is absolutely no chance of even having a conversation about unity when we're constantly in panic mode and constantly feeling like our lives are in danger. It's not even a remote possibility. So, short answer, we ain't there yet.
No.
Thank you guys. Thanks for speaking first.
Sorry, I'm like reading, I'm trying to read the thread and talk, and I can't do that at the same time.
Well, I just knew you were going to have a succinct way of saying it. We're just not there yet. And I think as far as speaking on conceivable white women's roles in that, we have two roles that are always brought up. One is just elevating the voices and the community organizers that are really doing the work and not giving people that don't have the shared goal of unity all of our mental energy and all of our attention when there are people that deserve to be elevated and listened to. And then, like was said first, those are your people, that's your work. I mean, that's part of it too, right? For me, I feel like there's dual things. And when people talk about allyship or being, or whether we're talking about within the Baha'i community, without the Baha'i community, whatever, white people have those dual things and we bounce back between them. And we have to, on the one hand, learn how to listen to the people that are doing the work that deserve to be listened to because they are the people living it, not out of some like action of allyship that we heard we should do, but because those are the people with the solutions and those are the people on the ground. And then of course, 55% of white women, these conversations never stop if you're a white woman from a white family. I mean, they just don't. You have to say something to all your kindred every time. And, politics, when it's on people's minds for politics or not.
I know one thing for me, because like the kids in the cages things like really hit me hard because like that happened like 40 years ago. Like situation's a little bit different. That's like me and my mom, like in those cages. So like, so that's, yeah. So then when I think about like people around me, first, I mean, like I feel like it was the first time like some of this, like my real privilege started to fall away, like my white passing and like cis het, like, privilege started to fall away. But it's like for the first time, I really became aware of who's saying what and who's responding and who's standing up to like anti-immigrant, behavior and comments and attitudes. And it was like the first time I really started to like keep track of like, okay, they're safe and they're not. So, and then if I saw someone making, anti-immigrant comments or anything, And if I saw someone trying to be unified with them, I was like, okay, I see what's important to them, and it's not me. It's not justice. So I feel like, yeah, like I don't know. I'm still working through. I'm still working through it and understanding it. But like, yeah, it's. I feel like we have to be really clear. Do we value unity or justice?
Justice. It's pretty clear. Justice. It's the best beloved. Or that's what I've read somewhere. Somewhere.
On our banner, that's the group banner.
Somewhere, yeah, best beloved of all things, or something like that. I don't know. I might put that somewhere. I don't know. Justice. Dang, I could see a lot being white passing, don't you? Whoa. Just downloading that, Hussein. That's a lot.
I think for me to jump in on this conversation goes, partially back to what Camila says. That's my people. That's my responsibility, right? And for me, this is where I kind of like to shift the conversation and say things like you talk about this side and that side, people on the other side. For me, there's not people on the other side. There's other white people. We're the same side, because that's racism, that's colonialism. What side are you on of those things? What side are you on of injustice? It's not about what you think you should be on. It's about what side you actually are on in the dynamic of the system we live under. And for me, like, I can't look at people who I disagree with politically and be like, oh, those people over there, because those people are me. I get all the advantages. I'm literally, aside from like not being a billionaire, I'm literally at the pinnacle of privilege in this culture and society. And so I can't look at those people and be like, yeah, you're different than me. I have to go, no, we're in the same place. What do I do about it? And for me, it comes back to this conversation where you're talking about how do you find unity? The only way unity happens is through relationships to begin with. Right? People only change based on relationships with other people they know, and build off of those things and build stuff. But also, unity is a goal. It's not an action. People, Baha'is talk about unity as like something that we do. We don't do unity. Unity isn't an action. It's a goal to achieve down the line. You achieve that through justice. You don't get unity and then have justice magically. We work on building justice. And the way that unity happens is that we've established for everyone in the world a system in which there can be justice for everyone in the world. That's where unity comes from. And so when people ask those questions, I say, you can't just, I hope for the best with somebody who wants to cause harm to other human beings because they're from a different country. You don't build unity with that. You set the standard of justice and you continue fighting for that standard of justice. And if people want to come along and have relationships with you, okay, we can have a relationship, but it's built on this. If you can't deal with that, I'm not going to change the standard because you're uncomfortable with valuing the lives and rights of other human beings.
I think when unity comes up in a Baha'i conversation context, very specifically, like Alex said, it's not something that you do, it's something that's created. You just have to bring up the purpose. The purpose of justice is the appearance of unity, quote. I mean, that really says it all. And I know that, like, I have been in a lot of these discussions in the community. And then when people say unity and you read that quote, and then people will just be like, oh, I always wondered what that meant, or I never thought about that. And it's like, well, if unity appears after justice, then yeah, that's exactly like, I think what you're just saying, like it's going to appear. It's not going to be something that we I don't even think people understand what the appearance of unity looks like. I don't think we do. I mean, but we act like we do by constantly repeating this idea of, well, what do we do to have unity in the community? I mean, we're so far at the beginning of these, of working towards justice to even see what it looks like when it comes.
Let's try unmuting first. It's real easy to change a behavior when it's mandated by law. It's another story. And it's also, in that example, I'm reading the thread, in the example about the car seats or the seatbelts, you know, that's also something that, despite some people's attitudes, serves everyone. And for many, many, many people, equity is going to mean a little less of a slice of pie for them. So it's against some people's, what they consider their best interests. And it's also not like those of us who are from oppressed minorities haven't been demanding change for hundreds of years. We've been demanding. It's just that now it's a little harder to ignore our voices, but it's gonna take a lot more, and it's going to take a whole different paradigm from anything we've been doing previously, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm talking about humanity on the whole. There are so many factors going against us here. There really, I don't think there is anything that you can compare this kind of fight to. It is singular. And it's not simple. Well, yes, it is. I'm going to read the comment for everyone to follow along. We have to demonstrate that a little less means not less than their share. It just means they give up the part that they had that was more than their fair share from the get-go. Yeah, they still don't want to lose it. It was more than their fair share, but they still want to keep it. It's still convincing them that it's still, you know, they're going to have less. They're going to have less privilege. They're going to have little less access. It might even be just a little, but it's still less. And fighting that is it's more than uphill.
So how would you guys think about oh, sorry. Sure. Sorry.
Drag them into the frame. We want to say hi.
All our kids are joining. Oh. Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. So how would you? Because I'm also seeing a lot of Baha'i folks. Grandma's actually watching. She's joining. So a lot of like Baha'i folks are talking about like we need to agree to disagree, come together. We're all in the same boat. So how would you respond to that?
We're not all in the same boat.
I tend to ignore them, but that's how I respond.
I feel like this is the same rhetoric we grew up with in the Baha'i communities. that is essentially a lie. I mean, I'm just going to be blunt. It's a lie. We're not all in the same boat. We don't all deal with the same issues. And, everyone just needs to come to the table. The problem is that people aren't willing to come to the table. Genuinely. They're not, it's if people are willing to come, it's often disingenuous, and it's based on all kinds of caveats that, like we're just saying, from the comments, that this is built on trying to preserve what they already have. Like, I'll come to the table, but I won't give anything up. I don't want any actual change, but hey, we can talk about, nice things, and that just doesn't work. And I think that's what a lot of times in Baha'i circles, people want to talk like, but they don't actually want to change any more than the rest of the society.
So I have a friend, we're friends outside of work, but we also work together too. And so we were having a conversation, like how those conversations go. You're discussing work, and then like, hey, so how's it going? Kind of like we just did. So it was that, and he was like, hey, by the way, I moved. And I was like, oh, I thought, that you were here. He was like, no, I moved to the Black Hills just outside of Rapid City. It's like, oh my, and I said it like in a snarky way, and he was like, wait, before you judge me. It was kind of funny. Before you judge me, he said, I bought land there to give back to, the Lakota Nation, basically. And for me, that floored me. Like that, people talk about, land back, land acknowledgement, recognizing the land you're on, sacred land. That's action. And I feel like that's part of what's going to have to happen. Because, my people, we're on the worst, the most, we got put to the most uninhabitable portions of land on this continent. So I feel like it's going to have to be, talk about giving up portions of wealth, giving up, access to all that. Those things are going to have to come into the dialogue of that. Like, what does it mean what does land back mean? If you have natives talking about land back, what does that mean? If you're talking about reparations, what does that actually mean? What does that mean for you in your life? How is, and how is ignoring that? What are the repercussions for your lineage by ignoring that? It's just sitting on that privilege, continuing to sit on that privilege. So I feel like it has to be at that level, recognizing that access. And I don't hear that discussions in any other circle aside from that one conversation I had. So we have a long way to go. Long way to go. Did I freeze, or are you guys just quiet?
We're taking it in, what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say is that I don't know how to communicate to people when they come to these conversations that what they're saying is not new and it's not profound. And I can't come up with any other way to say it. And then I'm generally reminded by who's ever moderating to be kind and tactful. And I don't know how, people will post something like, I'm not going to work with what we're talking about right now. Like, I'm not going to agree to disagree. People are literally worried for their safety. They've been worried for their safety and their livelihoods for decades. I'm not going to agree to disagree. And they'll come back and say, well, we need to meet in the middle and not be partisan or whatever these things will say. And especially when it's backed up with the Baha'i writings and, you're there having a conversation with the person and you just want to be like, you're just regurgitating something you've heard said 1,000,000 times and it was never profound. And it was never what the Baha'i, it's never what the Guardian said about race. It's never what was said about justice. And I don't know how to convince people of that. So, you know, so I'm no help. I guess I'm just rambling, but.
Well, I mean, as you all know, I'm a pretty big fan of bluntness on these things. And I think in some context, I mean, everything's about, you know, the capacity of the listener to some degree, but it also, I think, is towing a particular line of saying, this is what we're doing. Hey, we got a Jalali in the house.
Wait, is it? Okay, phew. Hi,
You're here. Hey.
I'm here.
Hey, phew, you made it. Yes.
We went
All
shopping.
right. Y'all ready?
We went shopping, went COVID shopping, so we had to, getting ready for a storm, because, you know, that blue wave tore everything up. Arizona's gonna fall down now. No, just kidding. So I had to, and the time changed. Y'all changed time. We didn't change time. So I thought I had another hour, and oops, hi, how you doing? Hey.
Hey.
Are we on live right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Can I say live from Arizona?
We are.
We're Saturday.
Here.
We literally don't have anybody from New York anymore to say that, though, correctly, in our group. Darn it.
Okay, so what are we doing? Do we have are we talking about decolonization, or, I mean.
We're talking about partisan politics, actually.
So how do we decolonize politics?
Oh, shit. She just jumped. I think she just jumped in. She's like, all right, y'all.
All related.
I love it. All right. How do we decolonize politics? Politics is
colonize. Well, no, you know, let's start with identifying what exactly we're talking about when we say politics. Because we have politics in religion, we have politics in every culture, we have politics. Politics, if you're going to decolonize politics, you got to look at, okay, what are we politicizing? Are you politicizing, I don't know, serving the people versus serving the rich? Or are we gonna like politicize my skin color? You know, are we politicizing justice? And how do you politicize justice?
Politicizing wearing a mask, right?
Are we politicizing science? Because, you know, science has been politicized ever since they started burning witches. Science has been politicized since the Crusades. The Moors taught the Brits, the Anglos, how to get clean. Always came from Africa, you know, cleanliness. It's so. At what point in time, you know, where does the politics stop, and where does life and justice begin? Are people going to politicize Black Lives Matter because they don't believe my life matters? Are people going to politicize water is life because they don't believe that, you know, water and our indigenous peoples are the caretakers of the earth matter? You know, what are Baha'is politicizing and why? Are you looking for power or are you looking for justice? If you want justice, you have to let go of the power. And that's point blank to me, as I talk myself through this. If you want justice, Baha'is, you have to let go of the power. And if you don't know how to do that, practice. We talk about white supremacy, but I don't believe there's any such thing as white supremacy. White supremacy is a church. White supremacy is a belief system. Just like the Baha'i faith is a belief system. How do you show that you're a Baha'i? Deeds, not words. So if you want to show that you're a Baha'i, you have to show it with your deeds and not your words. If you want to show you're not a believer in white supremacy, you have to take active part in reducing white dominance. If you're not going to take active part in reducing white dominance, when you walk in a room and everyone looks at you, when you say something and everyone else in the room says, okay, I like that idea, and you're the only white person in the room, start finding other ways to express yourself or write it down. White people so often assume that they are right and assume that they know because you've always known. You knew that Jerusalem would be better off in the hands of Anglos rather than in the hands of Moors. And from that point on, even beforehand, I'm sure, which is why you took over and raped Africa, took over the Americas, everywhere that you see in the world that is not white centered, there's still politics, there's still drama, there's still greed. But what we have, I can go to a Black community and do something and be checked by my Black community, and they'll say, no, that's not how we do it here. And the expectation is that I will listen. What we have right now is a individualist, independent America, really focused on moving out of the house. And I point towards colonizer capitalism more than anything else, because before capitalism became a humongous thing and a business, we had small family, big families, small capitalism. We didn't have multinational or national food sources where everyone looks to 2 or 3 sources for food. We had a lot of families who took care of their own and took care of their neighbors because we knew that we would not survive if we didn't have each other. And we live in a world now of people not caring if you survive or not, because your survival does not affect someone else's existence. If the town butcher goes out of business 100 years ago, that sucked for the whole town. If you have a town butcher now who goes out of business, it's like, oh, that's okay. We got Safeway, we got Fry's, we got, we got Sprouts, we got Natural Grocers. We're good. And having a choice is great, but we don't recognize how much we depend on each other anymore. This whole world does not recognize how much we depend on each other. When you get to the point where your chicken, your meat, your bacon comes wrapped up, clean, done, all you have to do is pop it in the pan and walk away. It's all dressed and trussed and all that stuff. You lose. There's still greed. You lose track of grounding. Lose track. Hey, Melinda, how you doing? Hey, Maggie. I only I only have 4 people on the screen, so I didn't know. Hi, Maggie. How you doing? Hi, Melinda. How you doing? We lose track of. Have you ever had, some college students or whatever talk about, I can't cook food, I can't cook dinner, because if it's not all cut up, and this I've heard this before, if it's not all cut up and ready to go, they can't touch it. I can't touch raw meat. I've met quite a few of them, and it's like, you're gonna starve, aren't you? Poor sweetheart. Bless your little heart. But we don't see the chain of connection anymore. And it's interesting that Zoom has really been bringing this back, this chain of connection that we have to each other. We've been very much in our own bubbles, and now Zoom has pierced our bubbles, and we're in each other's houses, and we're in each other's faces, and we're in each other's pockets, and I'm kind of okay with that now. I don't know.
Actually, that's a really good, before I forget, I just want to plug that Saturday the 28th, we haven't decided a time yet, but we're going to have a Zoom panel with Kamimila sister Wania, and then Joy Braun. And they're going to be talking about indigenous food sovereignty and decolonization. So that'll be really exciting. So that'll be posted in the group. And Joy's like writing a paper for this. Like she's looking at writings and the Baha'i approach to food sovereignty and climate change. And like, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I was listening to you talking. I was supposed to, or Jalal, I was listening to while you were talking. And today, this morning, we were supposed to go out and butcher a buffalo. And the person that was gonna shoot, he woke up, or no, he got a call last night that he was COVID positive. So then our butchering plans got canceled. But I remember when I first moved away from here, and I had, I was in Albuquerque going to school, and I had classmates. And I just remember a conversation or people not knowing where the meat came from. And to me, that's the oddest thing. Like, I mean, and that's why I'm vegetarian. Because I don't like cutting up meat. Because I've been in it. I've done it. I've been elbow deep in guts. So yeah, I feel like that connection, that's all part of that colonization, like where everything is in silos and siphoned, and we're disconnected, and we're not understanding our relationship, and the sacrifice of the animals that we're eating and giving thanks to those, and that's a whole other tangential, not honoring the relatives that we're consuming. Like that's huge. So, did I freeze? You guys are frozen. Oh.
No, you're good.
We see you and hear you just fine.
I don't see any other questions. Did anybody see any questions or?
I haven't been paying attention to that.
Okay.
We're like, nah, we got our dose of you this week. Y'all just go on ahead.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of follow up on Jalal's comments and follows with Camille a little too as well, is that for me and for other white folks, especially Baha'is, I think like there's such a fundamental thing that we refuse to acknowledge, and it has kind of a two-piece thing. One is that white culture has taught us that we can always be right. and that there's this intellectual superiority within us that we can always know and understand anything and everything, and that if I don't understand it now, it may not actually have any value. And it's a strictly false cultural notion that's been ingrained in us, and we don't even think about it. And so we degrade other people's experiences and knowledge. And not only that, we can't even functionally understand that we desperately need other people's knowledge in order for all these changes to happen. And that what we need to do is to stop demanding that our voices be heard all the time, and really be listening to the other voices and elevating them all the time in our communities every single day. And recognize that there are going to be things said and promoted and asked to be done that we don't fully understand the why, the how, and the benefit of, and that we have to trust that that is going to all come out in the end, because other people's knowledge and perception of what needs to happen in the world is not only valid, filling in gaps that we don't have, but it often is better at understanding these things, at least in the world that we live in right now. And this is a fundamental thing for white folks. I think we need to be investing ourselves in a fundamental state of humility for a long time, and let other people run the show. And it doesn't mean that we just go sit in the corner and don't do anything. We have a role. We support, we show up, we help be the people who enact these things. When someone says something over here and someone goes, well, I don't know. And you go, no, actually, we need to listen to that, because that's the advantage I have right now, is to promote that voice. But that voice needs to dominate. Jalal's voice needs to dominate. Kimimila's voice needs to dominate in these conversations. And we need to be supporting that and lifting that up, and then putting our own voices on a back burner, because there is a fundamental thing in white culture that we don't acknowledge. And this idea of white dominance that comes through white supremacy is that we have a fundamental ability to know better. And that if we don't get it, it's not really valid. It can't be valid. And that's a strict falsehood that our culture teaches us.
You know, Alec, I wonder, you know how we talk about the Baha'i community being too insular and not partnering with like-minded organizations and not learning from others? Like, we talk about how we need to have an outward-looking orientation, like we have kind of Baha'i speak for these things. And sometimes I wonder, and I think when I was younger, I used to interpret some of these problems as because we get too caught up in we're the ones that have the message of Baha'u'llah, and we know that we have his message and we're the ones, and we've got to give it to everyone else. And I think that's some of it. But the older I've gotten and the more I've seen how people behave within the Baha'i community when you even try to talk about social justice, I wonder if some of it is at least partially like what you're talking about. Like, part of it is the whiteness and how we view needing to be right and how we view having the answer, like infecting the Baha'i community. Because are we really convinced that we have the answer because we're Baha'is and we need to bring people together in the middle as a misinterpretation of unity, as we've talked about? Like, that's true. At the same time, it's like, well, maybe the reason we need to be outward looking is because, you know, whiteness permeating our events and how we view just like growing the Baha'i community, you know, because guidance in recent years literally has to spell it out for us: partner with like-minded organizations. And I don't know if any of you all have ever tried to get your community to go to a Martin Luther King pancake breakfast in the South, but they don't come. They don't come with you. You go by yourself because they're run by pastors in Black churches, and there's like all of 5 white people there and nobody else comes to represent the Baha'i faith. I don't know. Maybe that was too specific. That was an oddly specific example.
But I feel like I was with you. Or were we not? We probably were. But it feels really familiar, very familiar, having lived in Atlanta for 7 years. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe to kind of wrap things up because we're getting close to 6. If there's like one thing that we would encourage the folks that are listening to do, like after today or after they leave, like what would it be, you think?
I think you need to be talking to every person in your circle, all the people. And yeah, and this is specifically to white people. Yeah, you need to be like your family. You need, there's a lot of work y'all gotta do. And that's yeah. Yeah, those conversations have to be happening, have to be showing up. There was I don't remember who put it, there was an article that was posted in the on the page about and a young man from, I can't remember which country, but a recent immigrant who one goes to protest and then also talks to police. And then Miss Carol put a comment that that's something that white people should be doing, is showing up and going, talking to the police. That would be amazing. Like when I had my Miranda rights read to me and they were trying to lock me up, if I had a white person just standing up or like observing or watching or being like, you have opportunities every single day to be an ally, to stand up, to protect somebody. And if you're not taking that opportunity every single day, that's why we're getting that 55% of white women. There's too many opportunities that are just being, yeah. There's so much work you guys can be doing every day. I mean, you guys, we all, but yeah. And I'm done.
Do we cover every question? Do we miss anything?
I don't think so. I've been following pretty closely.
Okay. All right, folks. I for one have it's is it 7? I'm so tired of time changes. Don't sit down there and gloat, Arizona person.
I don't think it's only 4 o'clock. I don't know what you're all upset about.
No, it's messed up. My time doesn't change, but then I have to change adjust it for everyone else who's around the world or around the country. So that's why I was late today, because it's like, 4:30. Oh crap, 3:30. Oh wait, hold on, wait. What time are you on? Where am I? Someone said, is it today? What day is today? Is he sure it's today? It's like, well, I thought it was today. It's like, are you sure it's not tomorrow? It's like, what day? It's today.
It's 4th Tuesday.
Today is today.